On behalf of Principal Gerald E. Denman and Athletic Director Tom Roselle, we welcome you to Riverdale High School's Raider Rock Gym. Starting lineups for tonight's game. First, for the visiting Bulldogs from Baker High School. The Bulldogs are coached by head coach Jay Sanderson. Number 11, Devin Canyon. Number 12, Corey Fryer. Number 22, Ronnie Calderon. Number 23, Jake Casey. And number 24, Reggie Brown. And now, here's your Riverdale Raiders starting lineup. The Raiders are coached by head coach Damon Jones and assistant coach Vernon Brazil. Number 1, Daniel Malivert. Number 3, Jaquez Dickerson. Number 4, Jacob Tracy. Number 21, Dean Wilson. And number 23, David Johnston.
Then we hop over to the podcast. Turn it off? Yeah, I will shut that off. Yeah, just make sure it's nothing bad. Tuesday for the in-school game, you'll do the same thing. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Riverdale Raiders broadcast network, where we are just moments away from your opening tip-off for varsity basketball action between the Riverdale Raiders and the Baker Bulldogs, and we are officially underway for tonight's ball game live from the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. It's going to be Baker taking the ball as they move from left to right across your computer screen. The Raiders will move from right to left across the court. 7:46, and we have your first stoppage of play. Here come the Raiders, running it back from behind their own net. Carrying the ball is number 4, Jacob Tracy, across midcourt. Throws it over to his right side to the key, Daniel Malivert. Trades it back to Tracy. Throws down low, right corner to Dean Wilson. Tries to go for the three-point shot, and it's going to be overthrown. Here's the rebound coming in from Daniel Malivert, and that's going to be just short. It's overturned by Baker. Reggie Brown struts his way past center. Throws it over to Gabe Casey down the middle at the key. Throws it over to the right corner. The Corey Fryer takes the jumper, and it's in. Baker draws first blood in this contest. It's 2-0. 7 minutes remaining in your first quarter of play. Bringing it across center court right now is Jacob Tracy. Trying to find a man open. Fires it to the right corner. It's barely kept in by Dean Wilson there. And here's number 24 once again for Baker, trying to put in the layup. Rebound coming in for number 22, Ronnie Calderon. And that now makes it a 4-point advantage for the Riverdale Raiders. Here's Tracy trying to bring it into the attacking end. Down low to Wilson. Here's a 3-point jumper coming in, and it's good from Daniel Malivert. Baker trying to rebound. Starting off well with 2 buckets, and the Raiders are going to get on the board with a 3-pointer. Here's a 3-point attempt coming from the right side of the key, and it's a swisher for Devin Hanley. Now 7-3 your score. Just moments into your contest, live from the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School in Fort Myers, Florida. Here's Wilson, throws the ball in the paint. It's a layup coming in, and it's successful from David Johnston, fighting his way past the defenseman. So Reggie Brown now brings the ball into the offensive end for Baker. Makes a long-distance pass off to the far side for Corey Fryer, who tries to take a shot. And there's going to be a foul on the play, a stoppage. Raiders not too happy about that one. It's going to be thrown back in by Ida Baker's Devin Hanley from back behind the net. Finds Ronnie Calderon. Right side of the key. Drop pass to Gabe Casey, who stands out. Takes a three-point shot, and it wobbles around the net, or the hoop, I should say, before it rolls its way out of play up against the far side. 5:28 remaining in your first at 7-5. Ida Baker leads over the Riverdale Raiders. Thank you for listening in to the Riverdale Raiders Sports Broadcast Network for some varsity basketball, and a layup wide open for Corey Fryer. Had no defenseman open there, and there's a lot of stress going on. You may hear in the background on the Riverdale Raiders bench, Coach Damon Jones trying to whip his team into shape here because it's looking like a very competitive Ida Baker team to start things off. Here's an air ball coming in from Daniel Malvert, who tried the long-distance shot from the left point. There was a foul on the play. Raiders are going to throw it back in from behind the net. Throws it outside. Three-point play. Sorry about that. Daniel Malvert came up with a successful three-point play. That draws the Raiders down to 1 point. Now carrying the ball into the paint for Ida Baker is Ronnie Calderon. It's going to be stripped away from Jacob Tracy. Goes for the two-point jumper. And he makes the swish. Raiders make their first lead of the game. It's 10-9 your score. Number 11 trying to make the pass in, and there's a called foul on the play. It was Devin Hanley trying to make his way into the paint from the right corner and tried to make the pass cross feed over to Ronnie Calderon. Ida Baker is going to toss this one back in from the foul. And here's Devin Hanley trying to work his way around the corner. Tosses it to Gabe Tracy, now on the outside. And that is a short, long-distance shot from Devin Hanley. It's no good. Here comes Jacob Tracy. He's been very busy thus far in your first quarter of play. Here's a nice shot coming in from number 3, Jaquez Dickerson. And it's now 12-2, 4 minutes remaining in your opening quarter of play. We're going to have a timeout called here, and we will get back to action after this first media timeout on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. We return to boys varsity basketball action on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. 3:54 left in your first quarter of play. 12-9, the Riverdale Raiders lead over the Ida Baker Bulldogs. Ida Baker trying to rally it in the attacking end, and that's going to be an unsuccessful layup attempt coming there from Gabe Casey of Ida Baker. It's stolen away by Jacob Tracy. Tries to take a shot around the three-point line. It's going to be just short, and the ball goes out of play, where Ida Baker is going to throw it back in from behind the net. Throwing the ball back into action is number 11, Devin Hanley, pardon me. Reggie Brown standing next to him as he awaits the pass to resume play here. Thanks for listening in. Once again, this is Nick Rush giving you the play-by-play action to what has been a very fast-moving first quarter of play. Keep in mind that each quarter here in high school basketball is 8 minutes long and it's 4 quarters. Here's another three-point attempt coming from number 11, and it's overthrown as it deflects off of the backboard. That's Devin Hanley once again. A lot of three-point attempts have been thrown in here by both of these teams. Sometimes that's not the answer, but it's tough to go for those short two-point jumpers, especially when you're going against a tight defense. Here's a shot, and it is in. That time it was Dean Wilson who found nothing but net as he collided with the Ida Baker defenseman. That extends the Raider lead to 5 points. Here's another downtown shot, and that's going to deflect off of the rim. It was from Corey Fryer there, trying to make a bang-bang play on the outside of the key. Here's Dean Wilson again with another three-pointer, and that is going to be unsuccessful. It's going to be thrown back into the offensive end for Ida Baker. They've really shown that they know how to control the ball here in the first quarter of play. Here's a layup attempt coming from Devin Hanley, and it's going to roll back out onto the hardwood floor, and the ball goes out of bounds. 2:13 remaining in your opening quarter of play. 14-9 is your score as the Riverdale Raiders lead over the Ida Baker Bulldogs. A Let's Go Raiders chant is broken all around the Raider Rock gym here. Ball being thrown in by Ida Baker. Throws all the way to center court. It's going to be thrown to the right point. There's another jumper attempt from the outside, and that's going to be no good. Now it's a big scrum for the ball, and it's going to careen out of play up against the Raider benches. Speaking of Riverdale, they are dressed in their home white uniforms. Garnet red strip numbers on the front and back, white pants. With the garnet and gold stripe running down the sides, and here's a layup attempt and a foul coming on the play. As you saw, Corey Fryer just trying to jump his way up there around the net, but he's unsuccessful. As he ran into a Raiders defenseman, and now Fryer is going to come up for a pair of free throw attempts. His opening shot, he finds nothing but net. That draws their disadvantage down to 4 points. His second shot is on the way. It's in the air. Whistle blows prior to the shot. And there's a little bit of confusion right now. Well, the whistle blew before this shot. It looks like he missed it anyhow. So there's a little bit of confusion there since the shot came a little after the whistle, I thought. Here's number 12 making his way. He swerves past his defenseman, Jacob Tracy, and that is a huge play coming in there for Corey Fryer. He's been all over the ball in your first quarter. Here's a three-point shot. Bobbles around, and it is good. That one came from number 31, Deshaun Lane, from the right corner. 17-12, Raiders now take the lead. They've been looking impressive. They've been putting up with a very big offense for the Ida Baker team, but they've been working their way around this strong team. But Corey Fryer is going to come up with another two-point basket. He's going to get fouled, so he's going to get an extra free throw and hopes for the three-point play. He tosses it in the air, and it deflects off the backboard. Ida Baker's going to get the ball back. Layup is not going to work out for Ronnie Calderon as he tried to aim for the net, and now he's been fouled. He's going to take two shots up at the line. Two free throw attempts have came from Devin Hanley. Well, he's had, now I'm getting my names all mixed up. I apologize for that. Ronnie Calderon's opening free throw is going to bounce sideways and it misses the net. Well, anyways, I meant to say it's Corey Fryer coming up with two pairs of free throws. And that time we saw number 22 step up as his second shot was good. So he goes 1 for 2 on that pair of attempts. Here's another three-pointer, and it's going to deflect off of the backboards again as it was overthrown. Attempt came there from number 12. I'll get you that name in just a moment. There's chaos all around as the Raiders are trying to steal the ball in their own zone. Well, so much has happened in a small amount of time, but that's the game of basketball. Jamel Chang tried to take a shot off to the right corner, and a three-point play was no good. Ida Baker was able to bring the ball all the way down to the opposite side in enemy territory, but then on the attempt of a jumper, Ronnie Calderon was fouled, and now he's going to be up on the line. So Ida Baker has had more than plenty of free throw attempts. It's been a high-pressure environment. Now Riverdale only has a 2-point lead, 49.4 left in your first. Calderon with the shot, and puts it right through. Players tried to get back to work there, but the officials had to blow the whistle, as Calderon still has yet to make his second shot out of the pair of free throws. He does it again, and he goes 2 for 2 on that pair. It's now tied up at 17 apiece, 49.4 in your first quarter clock once again. Here's a throw off to the right side. Daniel Malver tries to find Chang open, goes to Dean Wilson down the middle to Jared Tracy, and he's going to make the layup. Raiders hop in the lead by 2 points. Now keep in mind, there are 2 brothers on the team. Don't get them mixed up. It's Jacob Tracy as well as Jared Tracy. That was Jared coming up with a very nice layup in a clutch situation. Devin Hanley stands at center court with the ball in his hands, dribbling the ball and trying to find a man open, sneaks his way into the paint, and there's going to be a foul. 6.9 remains in quarter number 1. This is going to be tossed back in by Riverdale. Jaquez Dickerson throws it back into play. To Chang, sneaking his way in, tries to throw one. It's too far out. He misses, and that's going to do it for your first quarter of play. 19-17. The Riverdale Raiders are going to take the lead over the Ida Baker Bulldogs. We take a quick break, and we come back to more varsity basketball action right after this on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. We head into your second quarter of action, and varsity basketball live from the Raider Rock Gym at Riverdale High School. 19-17, Riverdale leads over Ida Baker as we resume action for another 8 minutes of play. Once again in quarter number 2, here is your 3-point shot coming from Jacob Tracy, and he's successful. That makes it 22-17 on the scoreboard. And now there's a big scrum on the play. Jacob Tracy was trying to strip the ball away from Devin Hanley, and Hanley is going to get the pair of free throws. And Jacob Tracy is going to be credited with the foul. Ida Baker, they are wearing their black uniforms, dark blue numbers on the front and back, and black pants, dark blue stripe rolling down the sides. And his free throws are not going to be successful on either try. So that keeps the score same, 22-17. Here's a nice jumper coming in for the 2-point attempt. He's not going to make it anyhow. And now there's a scrum for the ball. Out at center, throws to number 11, who throws it out of play in desperation. That was Devin Hanley. Coach Damon Jones for the Riverdale Raiders, a little fired up in this contest, yelling out some words of advice for this young varsity basketball team. Here's another long-distance shot coming in from Ronnie Calderon. And here comes Jacob Tracy making his way into paint. The ball is stripped loose of his hands. It's barely kept in by Daniel Malver. Gives it over to Jaquez Dickerson. Throws it back to Malver, trying to go for it all with a long shot. And that's going to be way short. Ida Baker traveling the opposite way. And now Jacob Tracy is going to try to cruise his way in after he intercepted the ball. He was trying to brush his way up against Reggie Brown to take the shot, and the foul is going to be made. And Jacob Tracy is going to get the pair of free throw shots that he wanted as he stands up at the line. Shot number 1. Right through the net. Jacob Tracy is a sophomore, 6'5". He is a very tall guy. He played on the varsity football program earlier on this fall. There were plenty of varsity football players that have actually transferred over to the basketball team. We'll tell you more about that later on in the broadcast, but Tracy is going to be successful in both shots. He goes 2 for 2, 24-17. The Raiders will up their lead, and now there's a foul as Ronnie Calderon comes racing into the offensive zone with the ball in his hands. So there are, like I mentioned previously, there are plenty of football players here at Riverdale that transferred over to basketball. I'll try to squeeze this in very quick, but Daniel Malvert, Dante Quintella, Jaquez Dickerson, Jacob Tracy, Jared Tracy, Deshaun Lane, and Connor Johnston, they have all finished playing for the football program just weeks ago. And here's Jared Tracy, or Jacob Tracy, pardon me, I'm getting them mixed up myself. But Jacob was able to throw in the layup. Here's Calderon trying to dance his way past Daniel Malvert. Off to the right point of the key. Dean Wilson picks off the pass, but there's going to be a foul, which stops the clock. Looking at the body language here of the Raider team, it's obvious this is going to go to the Ida Baker advantage here. It's going to be tossed back into play by Devin Hanley. Throws it back out to center court. Najim Zogby is going to throw the ball away over to Reggie Brown. He goes back outside. Left point to number 3, Zogby once again. He's going to get knocked down. Raiders race it to the opposite end. Shot number 1 is no good. Rebound from Jacob Tracy. He's not going to make. And then he's fouled on the 3rd attempt. So talk about Jacob Tracy getting involved throughout your first half. Doing whatever he can to just get his arms up and take a shot towards the net. And here comes Jacob Tracy up to the free throw line once again. Takes the shot. It wobbles around for a few moments, but it trickles into the net. That will put the Raiders up by 10 points. 27-17 is your score. Raiders looking pretty prepared here in their contest versus Ida Baker. And once again, Jacob Tracy is going to be perfect on his pair of free throws as he sinks in 2. And now a timeout's going to be called by Ida Baker. That's their 2nd of 3 total in the first half. That's going to be a full timeout, and we are going to have another brief break. 28-17, 5:39 in your first half of play. Raiders are on top. Let's see if they can end your first half with a bang right after this. Both basketball teams make their way back out onto the court after Ida Baker just called their 2nd of 3 timeouts in your first half of play. For those tuning in, thank you for listening in to the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. This is Nick Rush giving you the call. 28-17, the Raiders lead over Ida Baker. 5:39 left in the first half. Ida Baker is going to get the ball back to resume action. A lot of pressure being put on here by the Raider defense. You see Jacob Tracy getting fast-paced. He deflects a pass coming in from Ronnie Calderon off to the far left side of the key, and he's going to tip and deflect it. Out of play, Ida Baker is going to retrieve the ball, and here's a pass. It's going to be deflected once again. I believe Tracy once again got a hand on that ball. It'll be tossed in by Devin Hanley. He throws across the court to Corey Fryer, trying to sneak his way across the free throw line. Takes a shot. It's going to go wide of the net. Whistle was blown previously, and that's going to be a foul called against Riverdale here as Corey Fryer comes up to the free throw line. He's getting a lot of pressure from this Riverdale crowd. You can hear him in the background. Very nice crowd on hand as well as Fryer sinks his first one. If you ever want to come out to any of our Riverdale Raider home games here at the Raider Rock Gym, tickets are just $4 for both JV and varsity games, and Fryer is able to put in both of his free throws. 28-19, Raiders now taking your lead. Rips it off to the right side. Down the middle to Daniel Malivert. Drops it back outside to Jacob Tracy, who stands at center court. Steps up, takes the downtown shot. Here's a rebound coming in from Johnston, and it's going to be stripped away by Gabe Casey. Throws it back over to number 11, Devin Hanley. And now there's a foul going to be called here against Riverdale, as Najim Zogby tried to take a shot and a layup, but he is going to be blocked up there for the foul. Ida Baker will toss the ball back in. Also on the Riverdale lineup, there are two different Johnstons as well, just to keep you updated. You have David Johnston, as well as Connor Johnston. Connor Johnston, number 33, David Johnston, number 23. David took that last shot for the Raiders. Here's a long shot coming from Dean Wilson to the left point. It's going to deflect off of the boards all the way to the opposite end. Ida Baker will go. They drop back outside on the left end. Now down the middle they go. Outside. Another long one, and that's not going to be good. It is a three-point fiesta here for both of these teams. Well, Gabe Casey was able to get the ball on his hands quite a few times. And now there's going to be a timeout called by the Riverdale team. That's their first of three in your first half. Damon Jones needs to have a word with his team. Well, now we have this stoppage. Let's tell you a little bit about this Riverdale varsity basketball team. Let's remind you of the coaches. For the Riverdale Raiders, it's Damon Jones, who is beginning his second season as the coach of the team. He brought the group to a regular season record of 10-19 last season. Jones is also the head coach of the Riverdale varsity football team, so he sure does carry a lot of responsibility on his back throughout the fall and winter months. The Ida Baker team is being led by Jay Sanderson, who has been the head coach of the school's varsity basketball program dating back to 2012. On the Raider basketball team, there are 4 sophomores and 8 seniors. The sophomores on the team are Dante Quintella, Jacob Tracy, Deshaun Lane, and Connor Johnston. The seniors on the roster are Daniel Malivert, Jaquez Dickerson, Jared Tracy, Jamel Chang, Miguel Vieira, Dean Wilson, David Johnston, and Mark Stanberry as we resume play. And it's a nice layup being knocked in there by Jaquez Dickerson. 30-21, Raiders still up, 3:53 remaining in your second quarter and first half of play. Here's another long shot, and he's going to make it. Devin Hanley from down the middle. Racing into the zone is Dante Quintella, taking the ball into his own hands, throws it to the left corner. 3-point shot from Daniel Malivert. He can't make it. Back outside to Daniel Malivert. Throws it up the middle to Dante Quintella, who awaits a receiver at the half-court line. And it's a swish coming from Jaquez Dickerson as he received a pass in the paint and puts it in with his left hand. Off of the layup. Reggie Brown leading Ida Baker on the offense here. It's the give and go to Devin Hanley. Takes a wide-out shot that's going to trickle out of play after ricocheting off the net. Clock frozen with 3:03. Raiders have an 8-point advantage. Ball is going to be tossed back in by Jaquez Dickerson. Finds his man Dante Quintella. He dribbles the ball out across center court. Gives it over to number 4, Jacob Tracy. Back over to Quintella. Tries to sink it in from far out. And that is going to bounce off of the net. Reggie Brown trying to rush it into the paint. He's going to take a clean deflection. His shot is not going to be well executed as the Raiders strip it away. Jacob Tracy leads it into the offensive zone, and he is going to take a foul here. Tracy is going to throw the ball back in. Raiders in the second quarter, they're moving from right to left across your computer screen. I apologize for not mentioning that earlier. Sure is a fast-paced game we have on our hands here, as Tracy is able to put in another one. Jacob Tracy with another layup. Raiders are up by 10 points, and here's a foul going against Ida Baker. They were on the offense there, and 2:13 is listed in the second quarter. These final minutes sure are dragging out. So Raiders from right to left, Ida Baker from left to right. Here is Quintella, sneaking his way past multiple defensemen, throws the ball up in the air after the whistle. He hits the ground, but there will be a foul coming there. Ida Baker will be the guilty party. Coming up to the free throw line for a pair of shots is Dante Quintella. Quintella is a sophomore, as I previously mentioned. Actually, now, there's a little bit of confusion. I apologize for that. At first, Quintella was standing right on the free throw line as if he were about to take his free throw shots. But then the official said Riverdale's going to toss it back in. So Deshaun Lane threw it back into play from behind the net. And there's Deshaun Lane from the left corner making a three-point shot. Well, let me just tell you this. Kids on both of these teams, they are not afraid to take some risks, take some opportunities to put some extra points on the board. Being surrounded by multiple Raider defensemen is Reggie Brown. Goes for the cross feed. Now up against the sidelines, there is a big wrestle for the ball. Deshaun Lane was a little shaken up there, and he's going to be helped up by a few of his teammates. It looks like Lane is rubbing his head a bit there, but he is going to stay out on the court from the looks of it. Ball is going to be brought back into play by Ida Baker. It's Gabe Casey, number 23, throws it back on the court to Reggie Brown, moving very slowly, trying to shake off Dante Quintella. Quintella is going to get his hands on the ball, but there is going to be a whistle. It's going to be thrown back in. That was a blocking call there. Still trying to get the details of this one. It's a block. It's going to go against Ida Baker as Riverdale is going to throw it back in to be exact. It's Deshaun Lane once again. Finds his man Dante Quintella. Moves down the middle. Swerves off to the right point. Slowly making some jukes. Throws it from behind his head. It dribbles around. And the rebound is successful from Jaquez Dickerson. Here's Gabe Casey racing his way down the far side. Drops it back out to Reggie Brown. It's going to be intercepted again by the Raiders. 2-on-1. A big opportunity came there from Jacob Tracy. It looked like he was trying to go for the alley-oop dunk there. But it just didn't go right, and the ball goes out of play. Riverdale still has possession. Through the stoppage anyhow. Deshaun Lane has his hands on the ball, trying to find his man through a bunch of Ida Baker defensemen, and that doesn't look very good. It's an attempted dunk coming from Corey Fryer. The ball goes out of play. You hear the fans there going nuts. What happened there is Corey Fryer was able to pick up the loose ball on the court, raced it all the way down the middle of the court, tried to go for the slam dunk off of his left hand, and that was a big failure. But there was a foul going there against Riverdale, so Corey Fryer steps up for a pair of free throws. He dribbles the ball around, and now there's some even more confusion. Officials gather together, and they make their final conclusion that there is a pair of free throws. 1:03 in your first half, 39-24. Riverdale in the lead over Ida Baker. Corey Fryer, shot number one, spins around, and it doesn't go in. 15-point lead for the Raiders. All is looking good for them if they can keep up this high pressure. Corey Fryer is able to put in 1 point. off of the free throw attempts. Now 1 minute to go in your first half of play. You have Jacob Tracy communicating with his players, seeing if there's anyone open. He finds Dante Quintella, who dances his way out the center court on the line. 40 seconds left. Trades it back over to Jacob Tracy off to his right side. Quintella is right next to him. Tracy's trying to make his way a little further into the attacking end. Now half a minute to go. Dante Quintella tries to find his way into the paint. He had a wide open opportunity as well, but there is a foul going against Corey Fryer there on the Ida Baker defense. And as a result, we'll have a pair of free throws coming in for Dante Quintella. Up at the line as he dribbles the ball around. He releases and fires. It deflects off the backboards and into the net. Raiders have now reached 40 on the scoreboard before halftime. Daniel Malivert is going to come into the game. Deshaun Wayne heads to the bench. He's seen quite a few minutes of action here in your final moments of the second quarter. So after putting in his first free throw, Dante Quintella cannot make the second one. It was too forced. And now there's another whistle. And that's another foul. And from the looks of it, this is another pair of free throw attempts for Dante Quintella. So he'll have a total of 4 free throw shots in a small amount of time. Actually, a miscommunication there. He actually got 1 extra one, so pardon me on that. So he had 3 attempts. And that time he was able to make it. He goes 2 for 3 on those 3 free throw attempts. One last chance for the Raiders. 10 seconds left on the clock. Layup is in from Jaquez Dickerson. 5 seconds left. Ida Baker doing whatever they can to put some extra points on. Last second shot coming, and it won't be good. That's Anthony Carvajal trying to take the 3-pointer. Last moments of your first half. That does it. We'll come back after a break. Your third quarter of play is coming up in just moments. 43-25, the Riverdale Raiders lead over the Ida Baker Bulldogs at halftime. So we'll have halftime, 10-minute intermission, and we will come back with your second half of tonight's ball game. Once again, 43-25, Raiders in the lead. We'll be back with your second half of play right after this. We return back here at the Raider Rock Gym at Riverdale High School for this varsity boys basketball competition between the Riverdale Raiders and the Ida Baker Bulldogs, and we are set for the second half as Jacob Tracy brings it out across center court, gives it over to Daniel Malivert, who stands at the right point, gives it over to Dean Wilson, who tries to go big for the 3-point shot, and it's overthrown. Now here's Jacob Tracy. He's able to recover the ball, and the layup is going to be good from David Johnston. Clearing the ball out for Ida Baker is Reggie Brown. Down the middle, swerving off to his right side. He's going to find Corey Fryer wide open, who moves down low to the corner. It's going to be given over to Gabe Casey and a layup. And now there is going to be a foul. It's going to be called against the Raiders. And a pair of free throws is going to be coming up on the way for Gabe Casey. Here in this third quarter of play, you'll have the Riverdale Raiders moving from left to right across your computer screen. Ida Baker from right to left. Gabe Casey takes his first shot. It's going to careen off of the net. So can't make it that time, but he will make it the second time. That makes it 45-26 your score. 7:20 remaining in your third as we are just underway. It's given over to Jacob Tracy. Goes cross court to Daniel Malivert. Now down low off to the left side. Takes a shot. It's too low from David Johnston. Now over to Reggie Brown. Ida Baker brings it out of their own zone. Here's David or Devin. I keep wanting to say David for some reason, but I apologize for that. It's Devin Hanley who gives the handoff over to Corey Fryer, tries to take the three-pointer. He's not going to come up with any points there. Jacob Tracy tries to race it down the opposite end. He takes a jumper of his own, and that's going to be too forced. So Ida Baker now has Devin Hanley controlling the ball. He has the give and go to Reggie Brown. Right point, throws down low to Corey Fryer. And there's another foul. And there's Coach Damon Jones in the background, just doing whatever he can to keep the Raider team going, keep them motivated, and keep them energized despite this nice lead they have going on. 45-26, Riverdale is on top of Ida Baker. 6:29 left in your third. And they tried to throw it in to number 12, Corey Fryer, tried to go for the layup, and there's another foul. And this time, there is going to be a pair of free throws coming up for Corey Fryer. Shot number one is going to be perfect. Let's see about his next one. That one he nets as well, so he goes 2 for 2. Jacob Tracy is going to take it out of the Raider zone. Once again, moving from left to right across your computer screen. Down the middle, it's Jacob Tracy. Throws it over to Dean Wilson. Trades it back over to Jacob Tracy. Three-pointer from the right side. Is going to swish around the net and back down onto the ground. Here comes Ida Baker the opposite way. Reggie Brown. Give and go to Devin Hanley. Tosses it over to Reggie Brown. He's trying to race his way past Jacob Tracy. Ida Baker doing a great job of retaining the ball as they send it back outside down the middle. And there's a two-point jumper coming in for Corey Fryer. That actually was a three-point play coming in. That makes it 45-30 Raiders. Here is Daniel Malivert. Sends it to the opposite end, where Dean Wilson's standing. They trade it back with each other. Pass down the middle is going to be intercepted by Corey Fryer. He's going to collide with Dean Wilson, and now there's a layup by Jaquez Dickerson. Crazy play there. It was a tie-up between Dean Wilson and Corey Fryer. They both hit the ground. And now there's going to be a timeout here coming for Riverdale. Well, you can bet that the Raiders are feeling good right now. They're up by 17 points, 5:12 left in your third quarter, but still, coaching staff wants to make sure that this team stays confident. They don't get too cocky throughout the remainder of the contest so that they can keep this momentum rolling. Raiders coming into this contest 1-1, representing Class 7A District 12. Ida Baker, they are a part of Class 6A District 10. It's going to be returned back into play by Reggie Brown to Gabe Casey. Casey sends it back to Brown. Sends it off to the left side. Number 22, Ronnie Calderon, tried to go big downtown, and the ball is going to go out to play. Raiders have the ball turned over in their favor, and with that, here comes Jacob Tracy. Down the middle. Throws it right side to Daniel Malivert. Now down to the midpoint to Jacob Tracy. Races over to his left side. Hurls it over to Malivert, who's on the right point once again. Down low to Wilson. Sends it back high up again to Malivert. Now low is Jacob Tracy. Off to the right corner. Down the middle to Dean Wilson. Here's the three-pointer, and it just comes up short. And there's Jacob Tracy trying to go in for the second attempt. And the third time is a charm for Jaquez Dickerson applying the layup. Coming out is Reggie Brown, trying to outsmart his defenseman Daniel Malivert. Brown swishing his way around Malivert, drops it off, and that's a layup coming in. As the pass was given over to Ronnie Calderon from the left point for the 2-point bucket. And now there's 4 minutes left in quarter number 3. 49-32 is your score as the Raiders of Riverdale High School lead over the Ida Baker Bulldogs. There's a layup attempt coming from Dean Wilson. He's not going to be able to put points up worth that attempt. And there was a near golden opportunity for Jacob Tracy. A lot of awkward bounces, but those are 2 points coming in as the 2-pointer came from Reggie Brown. Well, for a few moments there, it looked like Jacob Tracy had control of the ball after he stripped it out of his defenseman's hands. Ida Baker regained the ball, and they put in the bucket. Here's a 3-pointer, and that just takes an unlucky bounce off of the hands of Dean Wilson. And now down to the other end. And there's going to be a foul here. There's going to be...
It's going to be your ball underneath, Chocolate. Don't fight the net.
Okay, there we go. So Ida Baker is going to throw this ball back in from behind the net. It's tossed back in. There's your shot, and he finds nothing but net. It's Ronnie Calderon. A lot of frustration here for the Riverdale team. They can't seem to find a break. A lot of communication between the benches and the players on the court. Now there's going to be a pair of free throws coming in here to Ronnie Calderon. That's actually a 1-point free throw. That's been hurting me all night. I apologize for that, so he puts in 1 free throw. And he's not going to be able to make it. And now you have Jared Tracy in the paint, off to the right side. Spun around and tried to make the jumper. It's tipped and deflected out of play. And now Jacob Tracy is going to throw it back in. Looking around, taking his time to find a man. He's going to open up to Connor Johnston. Throws it out to the right corner. He's going to find Jacob Tracy. It goes all the way to the opposite end. Pass is going to be blocked by Jaquez Dickerson. He redeems the ball, tries to toss it up towards the net, and now it's going all over the place. Here comes Ida Baker. Shot, 2-pointer, near the 3-point line is no good from Gabe Casey. Rebound from Ronnie Calderon isn't going to work either. Here's Riverdale back out on the offense. 3-pointer from the left point, Jacob Tracy. That's going to be too short, deflects off the net. It's thrown back in by... I'm trying to see who that is. It is Jaquez Dickerson. That wasn't a very good decision, and now there's a timeout called there. And Ida Baker is on fire as Corey Fryer puts up another 2 points on the board. So Riverdale, it seems like they're winded. They just can't seem to catch a break. Seems like Ida Baker must have gotten a good motivational talk during halftime. But it's 49-38 Raiders lead over Ida Baker. The Raiders are still taking a very demanding lead, but still, in the game of basketball, the momentum can turn on a dime, just like in any sport. So you definitely don't want to get lazy on the Ida Baker team. So the Raiders are going to call their timeout. 2:13 left on the clock. As we get back into action, players coming back out. And here we go. Dante Quintella is going to lead the ball out of the zone for the Raider offense. Looking around, down the middle he goes to the point, fakes off to his left side, tries to go to his right-hand side, and he is going to be fouled by Corey Fryer. Now past, or exactly 2 minutes on the board in your third quarter, 11-point lead for the Riverdale Raiders. Substitution coming in for Ida Baker here. As we see Number 23 coming into the contest. That's Gabe Casey, and Coy Fryer is going to take the bench here. Here comes the Raider offense as they relay the ball all around the point. Throws it into the paint to Jaquez Dickerson, sends it outside. Now down to the opposite corner. Down the middle, Jaquez Dickerson tries to take the layup, but he's too close to the net and he can't even find it. A lot of frustration going on for the Raiders as they're having difficulty finding the net. There's a foul going against the Riverdale Raiders. Or going against Ida Baker, pardon me, so I apologize for that. Jaquez Dickerson is going to step up to the line for Riverdale, so once again, that's a foul going against Ida Baker. First shot from Jaquez Dickerson cannot be made, and he will convert on his second attempt. Raiders now have 50 points, 138 on the board. Sending it out across center. As usual, is Reggie Brown. Sends it down low off to the edge for Gabe Casey. Tries to take a shot, and he's not even going to reach the net there. Dante Quintella racing down the far side. Takes a pass. It tips and deflects off of the shoe of Devin Hanley, and there's going to be a stop there. It's going to be tossed back in from the far side in the Raiders' attacking zone. Riverdale has possession. It's flicked back into Dean Wilson. Leaps up in the air, trying to make the bucket, and there's going to be another foul against Ida Baker. Dean Wilson stepping up. A 6'4" senior on the Riverdale basketball team. He doesn't have a very great beginning to the free throw attempt as he cannot convert on the first shot. Let's see if he can make it on the second here. And he makes it. No problem whatsoever. Just sink it right down the middle for a beauty of a free throw shot. So he goes 1 for 2 on that attempt. And Reggie Brown making his way out to the near side. It's the give and go to Gabe Casey. Casey, he's going to scoop it over to Devin Hanley, who exchanges it with Brown. Brown down low to Hanley, off to the right point. His three-point shot is not going to work out. It's going to be returned to the offensive zone by Jacob Tracy. Tracy trying to fight off Brown here as he sends it over to his left side, Daniel Malivert. Malivert switches it back over to Tracy, trying to kill off the clock. 32 seconds left in your third quarter. Back over to Daniel Malivert he goes, who stands up on the far side. Down low to Wilson at the corner, trying to fight past the defenseman. Gives it to Dickerson. Dickerson throws it back up to the right point. Here's Jacob Tracy. High up again. Layup is going to be batted loose from Daniel Malivert, who tried to run into the paint, but an Ida Baker player had a finger on it to deflect it. And we have 2 free throws coming up for the Raiders. Daniel Malivert stepping in. And his shot takes a bad bounce. It deflects wide of the net. 15.2 left on the clock. Malivert on his second shot is good. 52-38 now your score. Riverdale is still in the lead. Ida Baker looking to put on one last bucket down to 10 seconds. Here's Brown. Brown off to the right side, exchanges it over with Gabe Casey. Casey to the opposite end at the left point, trying to reach out to Devin Hanley, and there's going to be a foul. We see Deshaun Lane and Mark Stanberry entering the game for the Raiders. Jacob Tracy is going to get a break in the action. 1.7 left in your third, so they're going to throw it back in, and that's going to be the end of the quarter. It's thrown back into Brown. Last second attempt from around center court from Devin Hanley. He's not going to be anywhere close. We'll have a 1-minute break as we enter your fourth quarter of play. 52-38, the Riverdale Raiders lead over the Ida Baker Bulldogs, and varsity basketball action. We'll come back with more of this great fast-paced action right after this on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. We now dive into your fourth quarter of play and boys varsity basketball action at Riverdale High School between the Riverdale Raiders and the Ida Baker Bulldogs. Riverdale on top, 52-38, as we are down to your fourth quarter, 8 minutes left in regulation, and we start with Dante Quintella carrying the ball out the center for the Raiders. Riverdale will move from left to right across your computer screen in your fourth quarter. Right to left will move the Ida Baker Bulldogs. Out to the point. Raiders deal it to Dean Wilson down low. Left side on the corner. High up to Quintella at the midpoint. He's trying to fight off Reggie Brown, the defenseman. Quintella fires it off to his right side as he is going to find Daniel Malivert. Malivert's going to find David Johnston on the player. That's Dean Wilson, pardon me. Bobbling out in front with the ball. There's pushing and shoving and a foul. And the play stopped with Reggie Brown having the ball in his hands. Foul is going to go against the Raiders. Ida Baker will toss the ball back in from behind their own net. Once again, 52-38 remaining in your fourth quarter of play, 7:17 left. Raiders hoping to keep up the lead, keep up the momentum, and pick up a win here to wrap up their opening week of the regular season, going 1-1. Here's Deshaun Lane with a layup as he rushes into the attacking end for the Raiders. His layup is going to be unsuccessful as he tried to reach out onto the net with his left hand. There's going to be a foul, and Lane is going to come up for a pair of free throws. 7:03 frozen on the clock. Well, the Raiders boys varsity basketball team started things off on Tuesday when they were defeated by the Lehigh Lightning. First shot from Deshaun Lane is going to roll around and back out onto the court. Raiders lost to Lehigh on Tuesday 64-51, but they rebounded last night on Thursday when they defeated Palmetto Ridge by a 54-49 outcome. His second shot is going to tilt off to the right side of the net, and Deshaun Lane is not going to be able to convert on either of his free throw attempts. That was his first pair of free throws on the night. Here's Ida Baker trying to race it into the offensive end. A lot of physicality there as Anthony Carvajal had the ball for Ida Baker, and he lost control, losing his balance there, and now we are going to have a full timeout going for Ida Baker. That's their first of the second half of play. 6:48 left in your fourth quarter. 52-38, Raiders on top of the Ida Baker Bulldogs. We'll take a quick break with more Raider basketball right after this on the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network. 6:48 remains in your fourth quarter of play as the Riverdale Raiders lead over the Ida Baker Bulldogs by a 52-38 score in boys varsity basketball action. We resume play as Reggie Brown carries the ball out to the center court line for the Bulldogs. Racing his way out into the paint, tries to take the layup shot, and it goes wide of the backboard, and out of play it goes. Ball is going to be tossed back in by Ida Baker here. To be exact, it's going to be Gabe Casey. Gives it to a man who falls down. He took a three-point shot. That was Devin Hanley. Chaos ensued out in front of the basketball. Bounced all around, and it went out of play. The ball is overturned. Raiders now have control as Dante Quintella leads it out of the Raiders' own zone into the attacking end. Trying to look for a man as he takes his time. 6:20 left in your fourth. Big advantage for the Raiders as they are on top, 52-38. Quintella still has possession of the ball at center court. He's trying to look past his defenseman, Corey Fryer. Quintella still looking around left and right. And there are Raider players out there. They're just having a tough time trying to get open past these Ida Baker defensemen. Quintella swings around the paint, tries to make a pass. It's going to be picked off by Reggie Brown. Brown drops it backwards. Makes the pass off to the left point to number 23, Gabe Casey. The ball bobbles out in the paint, and the ball goes out of play. Jaquez Dickerson and David Johnson are making their way into the game as they come off of the bench. In addition to that, we see Dean Wilson take a break in this ball game. And now, Jacob Tracy is going to dribble the ball across center court. Clock becoming an enemy for Ida Baker here. Raiders taking control. 3-point shot is going to be good from Deshaun Lane. Reggie Brown is going to control the ball. Gives it over to Coy Fryer off to the right corner. Ball is going to be swatted out of the play there by Deshaun Lane. Ball is going to be retrieved back into play by Ida Baker's Gabe Casey as he awaits the blow of the whistle. He'll be throwing it in from back behind the net. And here we go. It's thrown back in. He's going to find a man number 12 open. That was Corey Fryer, and he was rejected by two Raider defensemen. The whistle blows immediately, and it will be a foul. And a pair of free throws, 2 shots coming up for Corey Fryer. So the players from both teams line up, and 2 shots are on the way for Corey Fryer. Dribbles in. His opening shot, he makes it right through. 55-38 is now your score. Raiders taking the lead for a majority of this ball game. 5:12 left in the ball game. That is, if it doesn't end in a tie. And the Raiders are taking a very demanding lead, but you can never say never. If this game does end up tied, we will go to an overtime quarter. But if the Raiders can just manage to keep the ball in their hands and do whatever they can to run the time off the clock, or clock I should say, I think they'd be doing very good, and they need to keep adding the pressure, taking shots in the offensive zone. Corey Fryer goes 2 for 2 on those pair of shots. Here's Jacob Tracy firing it all the way down the remainder of the court. He's going to find Deshaun Lane. It goes back high up. Ball is going to be shot right into the net from Jamel Chang. Here's Reggie Brown again off to the right side. It's the give and go to Ronnie Calderon. Tries to go for the layup. It brushes wide left of the net. And here's Jacob Tracy. Down to the attacking end. Tries to skip his way into the paint. Rolls back out behind the key. Chang makes the pass. The shot is too forced upon from Mark Stanberry. It's now down the opposite end already. Very fast-paced players in this ball game. That shot was ricocheted off of the hands of Corey Fryer. A rebound coming in from Devin Hanley. They still can't make things happen. And there is a layup. It's not going to go into the net. It just didn't go right there for Jaquez Dickerson. Deshaun Lane tried to jump in there for the rebound, but he couldn't convert either on that. Now outside, the Raiders have control behind the key. Jamel Chang has control of the ball off to the left side. Gives the cross feed over to Jacob Tracy, trying to make his way past Reggie Brown. You've been hearing about his name plenty of times tonight. Very talented defenseman for Ida Baker. It's now worked out to center court. It's going to be picked away by Mark Stanberry. And now a whistle. 55-42 is your score. Raiders, they've been controlling for a majority of this ball game. 3:29 is left in the game. That was a foul. The whistle was a foul going against Riverdale. It's going to be tossed in by Devin Hanley right in front of the Ida Baker benches. Off to the far side. He's going to give it to Brown. Brown is going to make the short toss over to Gabe Casey. Dancing around the key. Sneaking his way into the paint. It's picked off by Jacob Tracy. Here they go. They have the advantage. The pass, the layup, and it is in from Jamel Chang. It looked like a 3-on-1 from the looks of it for the Raiders as they came crashing into the offensive zone. You saw Jacob Tracy strip the ball loose of Reggie Brown, brought it all the way down, and additionally you have a foul going against Ida Baker. So Jamel Chang hoping to nail this additional shot. Hopefully he can make the 3-point play. And he can't do it. It bobbles off the net. Raiders still have possession. Jacob Tracy is dealing the ball into the paint. Throws it deep into Jaquez Dickerson, who nails it in, no problem, off of the right hand. That now makes it 59-42. Raiders have been on fire all game long. Long distance shot coming from Devin Hanley from the midpoint, and the Raiders will retrieve that. It's Jacob Tracy once again. Goes cross feed to Jamel Chang. Inside the paint to Jaquez Dickerson, who once again puts in another layup. A nice alley-oop play there from the Raider offense. Dealing with the ball is Reggie Brown, trying to curve his way deeper into the offensive zone, and there's going to be a foul here. It's going to go against Ida Baker, so the Raiders are going to get the ball back. 2:22 frozen on the clock, 61-42. Raiders in the lead. Coach Jones looking a little more relieved. You remember earlier in the game he was getting on to his players. He was a little upset by how things were going, but now he's giving out high fives and all smiles, but this game is anything but over. Jamel Chang has control of the ball. Off to the far side. Goes cross feed to Dante Quintella, trying to make his way past Brown. He runs into Brown, and there's going to be a defensive foul going against Ida Baker. They're going to move this to the free throw line. 2 shots are coming up for number 2 himself, Dante Quintella. His opening shot is going to dribble around, and he won't get the point. That was actually, once again, another single free throw opportunity. It's happened quite a few times, so I apologize for that if I said it was a pair of free throws. Here's Brown, trying to make the pass deeper in, and now there's a big scrum for the ball. You had Corey Fryer trying to run his way in there, and Miguel Vieira was fighting for the ball right along with him. The 2 men slid across the floor. There's going to be a foul, and 1:58 is now left on the clock. 19-point advantage for the Riverdale offense, and now there's a 30-second timeout coming up for Ida Baker. So we will have a quick break and come back with more boys basketball action on the Rush. Radio Network, we used to call it. We're switching it over to the Riverdale Raider Broadcast Network. If you're listening back towards the football season, we like to joke around in the press box and we called it the Rush Radio Network because, of course, this is Nick Rush calling the action, so we called it that, but we decided to call it the Riverdale Raiders Broadcast Network once again. It's a more professional name, and I enjoy it. So here comes Ida Baker. Back to the offensive zone. They throw it across the 3-point line to Corey Fryer, and before he can shoot the ball, there is a whistle. A pair of shots on the way for Corey Fryer. He's been up on the line quite a few times tonight. He's no stranger to it, so let's see what he can do to put some additional points on the board for the Bulldogs. First shot is good. This is going to be another pair of shots, or another shot, I should say. So overall, he has a pair of free throws to work with. and he makes the second one. Here's Dean Wilson giving the handoff to Dante Quintella. Quintella making his way around the sides from left to right, trying to shake his way past Reggie Brown. Brown gives it over to Miguel Vieira. Opposite end on the right point to Dante Quintella. It's Miguel Vieira with the ball again at the midpoint. Dean Wilson's going to give the ball over to Connor Johnson. It is a mad scramble of passes for Riverdale. And now here is Dante Quintella sliding as he makes the shot. Shot didn't make it in the net, but there will be a foul going against Ida Baker. 1:18 now left on the clock, 61-44. Raiders taking the advantage. 7 fouls for Riverdale thus far here. In the game, 8 for Ida Baker. Shot number 1 from Quintella, and this pair of free throws is going to be good. Second shot, wobbles around, and he can't make it that time. It's Jacob Tracy still with the ball. He's scrambling with Ronnie Calderon for possession, and there's going to be another foul. Raiders will toss it back in, so it's another one going against Ida Baker here. It's going to be thrown back in by Dean Wilson off to the left corner. 3-point shot came in. The 3-point shot was too overthrown, but the rebound came in from Dante Quintella, I believe that was. Now down to less than a minute to go. 54 seconds left. Now dealing with the ball is Coy Fryer. His shot is an air ball. And 51.7 is left in this ball game. Raiders up by 20 points. It's safe to say they have came away with this ball game. And what a great night it's been. This wraps up the opening week of the regular season. With the win, the Raiders will advance to 2-1 on the season. Here's some more free throws coming in for Coy Fryer. A lot of noise being made by the crowd here. And that shot, right in, no problem. He now dribbles for a second shot. Shooting off of the right hand, it dribbles around, and he's not going to make it work. Dante Quintella and the Raiders are going to gather back the ball across center into the offensive zone. Quintella makes a spin around. He lands himself back out at center court. Throws it to the left corner. Here's a three-pointer. Yes, he made it. Miguel Vieira from the left corner makes it 67-45. Raiders, they have it on control. Great defense here by the Raiders. 23 seconds left in the ball game. And now a foul is coming in against the Riverdale defense. You had a shooter rushing into the paint, and he was blocked up. And it was Coy Fryer for Ida Baker. He's had his hands all over the ball in the second half of play, and he's hanging back to the line for some more free throw shots. 21 total seconds in regulation. So at this point, all Coy Fryer can do is add some points on for his team, but either way, it's not going to make much for the result. You heard some noise being made from the crowd here as Jared Tracy made his way back to the bench. I guess that was a little bit of a salute to him. The second shot was not good. And now here come the Raiders in control of the ball. Dante Quintella breaks his way past the defenseman. Layup, big speed. Listen to the energy here at the Raider Rock Gym. This ball game is over. 69-45. The Riverdale Raiders win over the Ida Baker Bulldogs, and that will advance them to a 2-1 win-loss record. Ida Baker sinks down to 0-3 on the regular season. So that does it for today's action live from the Raider Rock Gym on the campus of Riverdale High School. 4 quarters, and it was great non-stop action for the Raiders team. They win 69-45 over the Ida Baker Bulldogs. So we'll be back in action Our next broadcast is going to be on Tuesday night, on the November 24th, when they play their next home game versus Mariner at 12 p.m. Yes, I said that right. The teams will play at 12 p.m. due to the annual in-school basketball game we have here at RHS. The contest contributes to a great cause, as this supports the Harry Chapin Food Bank. Admission is 3 canned food items, or $3 for admission. Be sure to come out to support your Raiders and contribute to this charitable event. But that's going to do it here at Riverdale High School. I'm Nick Rush saying thank you for listening in to this presentation of boys varsity basketball action. Once again, the Riverdale Raiders defeat the Baker Bulldogs 69-45. This is Nick Rush signing out from Fort Myers, Florida, and saying have a good night, have a safe weekend, and a great win for the Raiders. Good night, everybody.